Are you ready for your punishment, slave?
I sometimes scream out, no. When really I mean yes.
Yes, yes!
And this is why we have the safe word. Until we hear the safe word, we will not stop.
She's not a Christian!
All right. Hey, this is Jason Rouse. Welcome to the show. I am here with my friend and fellow comedian Bryan Rouse, sitting down here at the Starbucks, as you can hear by this fucking patio furniture swinging around. Who made this furniture? A fucking blacksmith?
I think it was Mexicans in Hermosillo.
Was it? Is it? It's another sunny day here in California, and I haven't seen you in a while. And you're here in California because I think we were talking. You had planned to go to like Portland or something like that.
Seattle.
Seattle.
Have I not seen you since then?
I don't know. Maybe briefly.
I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't. You know what happened was I kind of got okey-doked. We're doing some construction work, and by the time we left, by the time I got up there, we just did not have enough money to stay, and it was like December. You can't be homeless in Seattle.
No.
In December. I don't care because
Or sleepless in Seattle.
yeah, you know what I mean.
It's
So I had to turn around after like a week and a half and come back down here.
like that's the thing. Homeless people in California, they live forever.
Yeah.
There's fucking old homeless, crazy former actors. Is there any comedians that are actually you see roaming around the streets with hard drug habits?
I'm sure, but since they didn't have any fame to begin with,
think
nobody knows them.
Probably the stronger bums eat the weaker ones, and comics are not really they're ones that deal with the climate. But you're not from California.
Yeah. I
You're
am.
from California.
Yeah.
Ah, okay.
But I mean, I've been a lot of places, you know. And
Where? But did you start your comedy career in California? Or?
actually,
'Cause this is a terrible place, you know that, to start a career.
I was 50 years old and one day when I started
Are
comedy.
you going to be the new Rodney Dangerfield?
I don't know.
That'd be a nice career, though.
Fuck yeah.
I would not complain at all. Even I watched his old stand-up sets on YouTube.
He's hilarious.
It's fucking great. So unique and so cool and so kind of like Hollywood, but in a suit, like rock and roll at the same time. He had something like this kind of uncle that had done a bunch of shit and never got married. You know what I mean? He had his character and stuff. And
I think he was a little like that, though. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
He wasn't too far stretching. when he
No,
was,
I've heard many stories of him just smoking weed with a house coat with his dick hanging out. And
I mean, when your eyes look like that, you can't help
He had
but be
basset
weird
hound.
in real life. You
he
know what I
had
mean?
those cherry basset hound eyes. It look like they're gonna fall out. But what a legend, and especially I've noticed just being in and out of California. I guess the last 7 years, that kind of element is missing from the scene. There seems to be this kind of like gay lumberjack thing happening.
I can't watch Comedy Central anymore. I swear to God, it's just
bad, man.
irritating.
It is completely irritating.
I mean, if we had this like a spectrum where you went from clean and you had the full array, that would be fine.
Yes.
But when everybody's striving for this one ideal of ultra clean, sanitized, like is a bad word the most offensive thing in the world? Like if I say fuck or shit to somebody, that's the worst thing that's ever going to happen to them? Really? Because I'm thinking that...
Why do you think that is? Like you look at old stand-up specials, so watch an old Dice special or a Kinnison special, and the content of the material and just the language was so much more freer and more driven.
Yeah.
It seems like that no one has that kind of persona anymore or presentation.
Because we're getting into kind of a new millennium corporation icon thing. You know what I mean? Where our ideals, our role models, and our heroes,
role models. Yeah.
I mean, Stanhope talks about Justin Bieber peeing in a bucket. That's the worst thing ever, because that sounds pretty lame. You know what I mean? I want to hear some exciting shit, like somebody died.
Real shit. in front of you.
You know what? The best thing ever, and I even love him the more for it, was David Carradine checking out in women's clothes in a Bangkok closet somewhere doing auto asphyxiation.
I have the same lawyer as him. Well, that he had.
You know what I mean? He didn't lose any points going out like that. That just made him that much more interesting.
Yeah. What a contradiction from this kind of Zen monk character to a guy who hangs himself in a whorehouse.
Like whacking off with lipstick and women's clothes isn't exciting enough. I need to choke myself to near death proportions. It actually went to death.
Isn't that weird how that is one of your biggest fears as a teenager, to get caught whacking off? Yet when you get to a certain stage in your life, you could really give a fuck. Oh, they're going to find me with my dick in my hand. Who gives a fuck?
Well, yeah, now, and by the time you get to my age, I actually go around in the neighborhoods just trying to show it to somebody, and I can't get caught.
Hey, buddy, do you mind putting your dick away? My dog's trying to have a shit over here.
And he can't
because
you're too gross with that thing.
You ruined my dog. I got a handful of dog shit here, and my kid's crying now because you're beating off into a cowboy hat.
That's why I lock it up in a Taco Bell bathroom. You know what I mean? And you hear the dad knocking on the door. Oh, I'll be right out. My kid's got to take a grab.
Someone spilled soap all over the floor in there. You might want to be careful. Yeah, I know.
Don't use a black light.
What? So, where did you do your first shows? Were they here in like open mics?
The
and
very
stuff?
first show was it was a regular book show over at the Ice House Annex, and it went well. I mean, I actually had more successes than I did, and I didn't start really eating shit until I was a year or two in.
Yeah, I think the reality of it probably set in. You're like, I got to deal with this. Why can't I just do it on my show? I just want to do my shows.
Yeah.
Why do I have, this is not helping me.
Yeah.
That's where the frustration comes in. And that comes in waves, I think, It's really, it's frustrating, but you really got to shovel a tremendous amount of horseshit in between these moments of greatness that you'll have as a performer.
Yeah.
And it's exhausting, and especially if you're from you have a kind of a street mentality, like we were talking earlier, where people get punched in the face for doing stupid shit.
Yeah.
And you have to deal with professional people, and you can't exercise that.
Yes.
Without a lawsuit or the cops, or just a fucking the headache of it outweighs of ringing this guy's bell.
But then again, I want to do some show in like buttfuck Texas, and I don't want to have to worry about a goat roper getting the best of me. You know what I mean? So I still want to be able to maintain mines there.
Sure, as a performer, and again, I mean, in just in casual conversation, I'm not meaning you being attacked on stage for saying something. Sometimes you have a shitty night. I've been confronted on and off the stage, and a handful of occasions, but those are just idiots.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And I always think of it this way. I got a mic stand, and I'm pretty sure that's about a 25-pound piece of iron on the bottom of that.
Yeah.
I will take your fucking jaw off the bottom of your head. We're not going to get in a wrestling match. I'm going to ring your bell.
Dude, that's why I always have at least an extra full beer right there next to me.
Full of sand?
Because I don't care if you're Brock Lesnar. If I take a bottle full of liquid and hit you on the baby soft spot on the top of your head, you're dropping. You know what I mean?
You're gonna get tired really fast.
Yeah, and then the neck is broken. So then, if I have to, I could just stab you with the broken neck of the bottle. You know what I mean? In the neck.
Yeah, I saw that in a movie where the guy took a bottleneck, he jammed it in the guy's jugular and twisted it and opened him right up like a floodgate.
Well, if you're scared, yeah.
Yeah,
You know
that's not a good one. A knife. I've been watching a lot of Game of Thrones, and they've been chopping people's heads off.
I love that show.
Isn't it fantastic?
Oh yeah.
They should bring some of that shit back, like the stalks. Throw some fucker in a rat prison for a month instead of like unconditionally for like a year.
Dude, my whole thing now is all about the metaphorical zombie apocalypse. It's going to happen, whether it's that or the overpopulation. You got to watch a New Planet Earth series.
New Planet Earth?
Yeah.
It's a TV show.
Yeah. It's a new series from the old one, and they go back 10 years and like all these, and they're doing all these projections about what's going to happen in the next 35 years. Our civilization's going to end.
It's what?
It's going to end, brother.
How? Natural disaster? War?
overpopulation, depletion of
last show.
resources, contamination of, and
Poisoning
also
the planet.
plus, the Rouse ice shelf broke off from the Antarctica. It's the size of Texas, and it's just
I heard that-
meandering around the South Pole.
How big is it?
The size of Texas, 2 miles thick. And so when it comes across like Buenos Aires, it's just going to scrape it flat. You know what I mean?
Oh, it's that big.
Oh, yeah. It's just like a giant chunk of super hard ice. It's just floating. All it needs
Someone
to
will
go is like
harvest
3
that.
miles an
the
hour.
Minerals and stuff and those kind of things are fossils.
Or
I heard polar bears are
ice
drowning.
cubes for airport drinks.
Yeah, can you imagine? Margaritas forever.
Yeah.
But you said you've traveled. What kind of stuff were you doing before stand-up? I know you still got your hand in construction and
The reason I started doing stand-up was because I write. And I've had some stuff published, and
did you do blogs or anything like that? Any social media?
not much.
Twitter, anywhere people could check out your writings or?
Yeah, I mean, I have a few writings on like Facebook or something. You know what I mean? Posted notes, but right now I'm actually in the middle of a few projects, and a couple of them. One of them was with Neff. I did a show, and I never done it before, but for some reason in the middle of it, I said, one time I did, and he did that rooster laugh, you know what I mean? Because it is kind of hacky to say one time, right? So I'm writing this book because there's a bunch of things in my
It's a
life.
children's book?
Yeah, it's children's book.
I don't know.
Come here,
I know
kitty.
a lot of
but it's all these stories about one time, and it's how you take this, completely unrelated little bits of life that you could never fit them into any other context, right?
Mm-hmm.
The only way you do it is to organize them in with other unrelated bits and just make this kind of like
makeshift puzzle.
Yeah. And since one time's all hacky, then I've just suspended all the rules of English anyway. And I'm going to put the book out on iTunes for what, $1.99 and get 10 cents?
That's awesome.
Right?
Yeah, man.
Fuck
I
yeah.
would actually encourage you, I didn't know you had your hand in writing and stuff like that. A blog is a great way to reach out and get a fan base via your writings. And then people come out and see your comedy. It's kind of like
Yes.
what I'm doing here with
Yes.
this podcast.
Right.
But I'm not as probably half as literate as you are. And so I go through video, audio, visual kind of stuff.
Right.
I wish I do tweets once in a while, but I'm not really public with.
Well, I
stuff,
ran into a series of things that happened with writing in Hollywood, and some people, we were doing, and then I got quacked a few times, and it just really disenfranchised me on the whole deal. And so I just put the pen down for a while, and I said, I need to do something creative. And
you should do restaurant reviews. That would be fucking hilarious.
Oh, yeah.
Go into fine dining and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And write it in your dialogue and the way you speak. That would be fucking hilarious, actually. Now that I think of it. Go into like all these boutiques. Some meals you're gonna have to drop some coin for.
Yeah.
But then you get to tear a strip off of them and do a little couple shots with your phone.
Yeah, yeah.
I think that'd be hilarious. It's such a contradiction because looking at you. People wouldn't think that you were dining in Beverly Hills, and then bringing it as from a working class jargon.
Yeah.
I think that'd be fucking great. But anyway, we're getting off topic.
I get, what were we talking about? Scumbags?
Writing.
Right. Oh, yeah.
Scumbags.
Writing about scumbags. Yeah. And so I ran into some roadblocks, and I decided I needed to do something else. And then, for me, having a checkered, colorful life, comedy has been my entire redemption. If I never get anything more out of it than just the gratification from the act of doing it at the moment, then I'm fine with that. And anything else is a bonus.
It's gravy.
And you know what? It's made a huge difference in my whole performance, because then it doesn't.
You're probably more relaxed.
More of a conversation with the people, and it's come out so much easier because I realize what I'm doing it for.
Yeah, you want to connect with strangers.
Right.
You want to reach out. You want to bring up your point of views and some of your ideas to a room full of people you've never met before and have a moment.
Because I don't.
And it's the best.
Fame. Like I would
fleeting.
have more punching victims than Sean Penn, what would I do with a bunch of money at this stage?
You-
I've lived all my
Murder,
life without money.
suicide?
You know what I thought? If I do get a bunch of money, I'm gonna go around to 10 Home Depots and just tell every Mexican in front, just get in the back. I'll give you $200 a day and a burrito, and you do it. Anything I tell you. These guys are all from war zones. I'll just sick them on everyone that ever dogged me over and stand across the street and watch them. Yeah, how do you like that, motherfucker?
Hired gun mercenaries.
Fucking bicep. Fucking soccer team will soccer your head in.
But this is a very strange. Like, what are some people that are listening to the show that might be comics thinking about coming to LA? What would you recommend? To see it in your face, you're already there. What would you tell to a young comedian from another part of even the world coming to do Los Angeles to do comedy?
I mean, you have to, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. This is my last stop.
New York has the talent, but out here, you gotta swim with sharks.
Oh yeah, man.
Look, I mean, there's 10,000 comics in Los Angeles, and 9,900 of them
And
suck
20
hard.
that are good.
Yes.
I think there's maybe 20 good comedians in the city that are living here.
Yeah.
As far as world class talent goes.
Right. Well, because it's a shitty city.
And then how many more after 1,000? There's got to be 1,000 because you got these hybrid assholes
1,000?
that are actors that
Oh,
double
no.
as stand-ups. I've never seen them at any open mic, and then they're on doing a showcase because they've got an appeal on some level
Didn't
and no
Ron
talent.
Artest fucking headline the
Pardon me?
Improv? Didn't Ron Artest headline the Improv?
Who's
Meta
Ron?
World Peace, a basketball player.
No, I don't know anything.
Yes, he did.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, people are not here to see comedy; they're here to see celebrity.
Like
They want to see famous people.
you're headlining the Improv, dude. You know what I mean?
Well, he's a professional basketball player. He can buy the Improv.
Yeah, why would you need to do that when you're making multi-millions a year? Is it just I just
Favor of
need
a
that
friend.
much more attention? Look at me, look at me.
Yeah, but some
Look at me.
people also too that they're like they have famous friends. So say, hey, I know you're not a comedian, but I'm doing this show. Would you come down and hang out? I'll give you fucking $5,000, and I'll just show up because it's good for their street cred. This guy knows. I love basketball. How did you know? You know, it's a fucking dick sucking competition.
Yeah.
There's no value in it.
Oh, well, that's
It's
where
it's
the
a
pro
weak-
wrestlers come in.
It's a weak. What?
That's where the pro wrestlers come in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I even like Rowdy.
Yeah.
He's kind of funny. Mm-hmm. But I mean, he's actually been doing it for a while. But now
And
every
they-
pro
and they're-
wrestler wants to get in on.
Totally. Well, where else are you going to go? You're going to go work as a bricklayer when you've been on a stage, worship for years, making millions of dollars.
Wait, now here's the problem I got with this. Now, I mean, I'm a fool and I will piss money out my butthole. But if you're making millions, they don't save anything.
Not a lot of people do. How many professional athletes are bankrupt? Robbing fucking OJ robbed to steal back his own memorabilia. You know, where did the money go? You know, obviously it was via his legal issues. You know, you get rich and people exceed their lives, especially working class or poor
Yes.
people have never had to manage.
Yeah.
All their friends come over to the house and they piss it all
Let's
away.
make it rain.
Yeah, and then in 6 months, all their friends are gone. Their real friends
Yeah.
are there, and they're going, "Dude, I told you." You
Yeah.
know, they're real friends.
Stash
Shut
something.
up! You're ruining the fun. You know, it's a dummy move.
Yeah.
I remember watching some news show. They're doing a profile on some guy that he was a star on a hospital drama. Can't remember what it was. And they went to his house. It was like a cribs thing. The guy, I can't remember his name. He was a megastar. And they looking around his house. He goes, I know. He goes, I don't know when the money's going to run out. He had this small, quaint house, you know, 2-bedroom. They walked through it in 30 seconds.
Right.
And he's got, I don't know, X millions in the bank. But he goes, I might have to live off that. Nothing else might come.
So he's a smart one.
He's totally smart.
Yeah.
And it was great. He goes, I got my dogs here, my fucking wife. We go on a holiday whenever we want. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And these guys, they buy these crazy, especially in hip hop, you see it. And he's like, you never hear from these guys again. They put
Yeah.
out one album, they piss it,
Because they're going to
pouring
do.
champagne on the
Yeah.
ground. What the fuck?
They're throwing gold bullion at strippers and
There's
shit.
very, Dr. Dre, who could probably do it better than anybody, who's the first black billionaire via his headphone sales.
Yeah.
He can afford to pour Cristal on the ground every day, all day. a
Yeah.
waterfall of it, because he can spend that money in his lifetime,
Right.
and especially the career that he's already got in his back catalog, plus the stuff that people are waiting to work with him too. He's set.
He's one of
Maybe 50
Yeah.
hip hop artists that have that kind of staying power and credibility and bank to 50 Cent.
You know what? If I was to look, if I was want anything for career wise with comedy, I would be happy with like $100,000 a year, and that's not a far fetched amount at all, really. If you're
Comics
trying
were
to
doing
be
that 20
disciplined.
years ago. Just regular road dogs was making
Right.
100
Right.
to 300 grand a year,
Right.
20, 30 years ago.
I mean, it's not much. It's just barely being solvent nowadays, but
It
would
is,
be
yeah.
it would be
Isn't
fine
it
for me.
retarded that that $100,000 is a decent lifestyle.
Decent.
Like, that's a decent. You can afford a
Middle
car.
class.
You can maybe have a pet. Maybe even have a kid.
Yeah.
And live comfortably. But I don't know.
I could pay a bill at home and go out and do the road and not
with
have to
no
worry about it.
Financial weight.
Yes.
Everywhere. How much is this? It's tough. People always think that because you do television or things like that you're automatically rich.
Yeah.
No way. Most of the time, it pays 90% less what you'd think.
Yes.
And it's they get you all
SAG
amped up.
ultra low.
They get you all amped up that you're going to be a success from this, and and it's all a delusion. They take it and then they run with it. But at least the internet actually gives it another wind. You get something on YouTube, it can bypass the television thing, and it can go viral, and you can build a career, which is a gift and a curse because talentless cunts can set up a page and.
I think, like, for people like you and me, we can't even go the traditional route.
No,
There's not even so.
The channels aren't there.
And you actually opened my mind when we were talking about how you got into some of the venues up in the Scandinavian areas about just going into places where they'd never seen
Showing up.
an English speaking comic. Yeah, you know what I mean. And so it inspired me to where my plan is I just need to have enough solvency to where every few weeks I can take a week or two and just drive.
Yeah.
I'm just going to show up in the clubs and just tell them, give me 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Or I'll beat you and eat you.
And then book me the next year.
Yeah.
I showed up. I paid to come out here. I did well.
Right.
Yes or no.
Right.
And then I'll move on to the next state,
Right.
town, village.
Because most guys, they'll think, if this guy's got enough balls to come in and ask for time, then I'll
Definitely.
give him that time.
Definitely. People was like, oh, how do you get all this stuff in different parts? I go, you got to show up.
Yes.
I stayed on. I luckily through friends and word of mouth, I had built up a good pipeline of friends,
Right.
internationally, and we all communicate. It's like an underground railroad, and it's like if you're a decent comic,
And I'm going to get on your leg and hump it like a little terrier. And just, oh, Jason, how do I do this? How do I do
But
this?
it's the internet now. It's giving nobody any excuses.
Yes.
You can reach out to anybody in the world with 2 clicks. You're somewhere where you want to be, directly linked to somebody.
You're actually you're actually the centerpiece of one of my jokes.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, about
me
how-
getting AIDS in Africa.
How I could Skype somebody halfway around the world and they've got 2 chicks bumping clams and a snorkel in a pile of mysterious crystalline stuff.
Oh,
but
man.
yet it takes forever for a freaking traffic light to change. Apparently the technology is...
Backwards.
We can't do that in Los Angeles on the streets.
Yeah, you can see a live action conversation around the world with anybody, multiple people.
Yeah.
You know,
We
they're
could Skype into a beheading right now. Absolutely. I'm sure it's like
What state do they-
jihad.com.
it's not in the U.S.
The Monday through Friday schedule of...
What do you got coming up? Is there some clubs that you're frequently or doing shows or places you like to perform here?
Yeah, I mean, I like, obviously the improv, a little bit of the store. I'm a little against... It's not that I'm against the store. You know what I mean? It's just got that vibe. I like going there.
Yeah.
And I always do well there.
It's like a Bermuda Triangle of mental illness.
Right. And I go in there, and people kind of like they look at me like, and I hate it when people tell me what they think I want to hear. You know what I mean? Just
Yeah.
tell me what you think. You don't have to kiss my ass
Bullshit.
or whatever. But the improv, it's a store. I'm gonna go back to Lovitz now because after being banned there for a few years, now a change of ownership.
Yeah, why
and,
not?
Right?
Why
it's right
not?
down the street, and but I like a lot of the little clubs, the Latin circuit. All the Beanie Babies. I love them, and they love me back. Because and I like getting out of LA proper because then I feel like there's an appreciative audience. The farther
real people.
away I go,
Yeah.
the more real people are, and then I can have an actual.
That's what's missing. I think the working class people don't inhabit the shows. It's all people in the business or
It's fixed gear bicyclist hipsters that have their arms crossed and they have a face that looks like they ate a turd.
Listen,
and it's
I
like,
did,
don't you get that disdainful shit? I will take my Doc Martin and smash you in the teeth.
do you know Neil Hamburger's show in Silver Lake?
Yeah.
So he's a friend of mine. Greg's a very nice guy, and I love him. I think he's brilliant. He has me on his show occasionally, and he either goes pretty decent or really bad. And I died in front of these bearded cunts for like 15 minutes or something. I tanked so bad. I knew after the first bit they weren't
Saving
willing to reach it, so I just poured it all in the shitter, man.
Yeah.
I laid it on fire and I rolled it off the stage.
Yeah.
And they had this look of confusion, like, why are you being so hurtful towards us? Because I hate you because you're complacent. You
Yes.
fucking scumbags. But
You-
when they're on
you're-
board, when they embrace the irony of it.
You have a chew bag, you bovine bitch.
Chew bag. Is that trendy now? Is that what the kids are doing?
I don't know what. I don't know what kids do. I don't even know what adults do anymore.
Who were some of your favorite comics or are? Who's dead that you like to watch?
Who's dead? Oh, honestly, I think my all-time favorite still was Patrice.
Yeah, he's a killer, huh?
That dude, man,
He's badass.
his delivery and his way of talking with people was just
The
so
language.
natural, and
Yeah.
he
He gave the audience he'd say, "You're in my house, and this is how I like to cook things.
right.
So this is what we're serving. You can either
Right.
get into it or fuck off."
That dude was
But
genius, right?
I know how to cook, and if you don't like my cooking, there's a lot of people who do,
yeah.
and I love that kind of line in the
Hicks,
sand.
Carlin, Stanhope. I like Louis C.K.
Mm.
I really like his show.
Yeah, it's nice.
It's the
refreshing.
anti-Seinfeld.
Yeah.
You notice that, right? It's a little bit of stand-up at the beginning, but instead of that happy sitcom shit, it's this fucking
it's a
dark and
dark
make
side
me
of
look like
comedy.
a piece of crap, and then some more stand-up at the end.
It's definitely more heavy,
Yeah.
very heavy. There's some heavy, and some of it's just did you see the one where he's and this is a spoiler alert. He meets a young girl, comes up to him after the show, and she's like, "I heard what you said." And he's like, "What?" He's like, "He's got a half a hot dog hanging on his
Yeah,
mouth."
yeah.
He kind of turns around, this hot young piece of ass is there. He says, "It's not true. Some of us like old men." And he's like, he looks to her and what? Like he's just he's never been in deer in headlights. He's just never dealt with this thing.
Yeah.
She goes, yeah, you fucking like you smell. He goes, I smell? She goes, do you mind? And she smells him. She looks at him and goes, yeah, you fucking smell. And then he's like, and then he's like, she says something to the effect like, I know what you're thinking. You hit the jackpot. Like he can't believe that she's fucking him, and she's like, "You dirty bastard!" You fucking. He's just like, "What the fuck is going on?" Man? It's fantastic. I don't know how I got on that. Louis' show. Yeah. There's some dark comedy too, and heavy moral elements. To
Well, he
it.
writes himself to look like a piece of crap a lot of times.
It's fantastic. It
Yeah.
is definitely refreshing.
Yeah.
Like somebody's like, "Oh, you got to watch 2.5 Men." I'm like, "What is this? This is nonsense. This is nonsense. I can't even. There's, South Park and Family Guy.
Fargo.
I haven't got into that. Game of Thrones for
Game
just
of
the beheadings
Thrones.
alone. And
Yeah.
the incest is fantastic. It's fucking out of hand. It's people are doing family shit around it.
Yeah. I mean,
But for the most part, it is horrendous. But so what other you like? I tell
oh, Dave, yeah, he's
Killer.
And his latest series of shows, Comedy Underground,
fantastic, huh?
right?
Yeah,
Crusher.
I dig it. I
Yeah.
dig it. He's like a sniper who's just been so stripped down to only nothing but kill shots.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
laying in the jungle. He's got tarantulas crawling all over his face. He's like, no, I'm taking the shot. I don't do a secondary shot, and it's boom, boom.
Oh
boom,
yeah,
boom.
he's a surgeon.
Yeah, it's really something special. If anybody who's not familiar with David Tell, do find anything you can on him. You won't be disappointed, especially if you're listening to this.
Right.
It is, and to see it live, and
Yeah.
especially when there's somebody unruly in the audience, it's like watching a seal clubbing. When he doesn't even put up his hands, it's all language, and it's soul destroying. And then he comes back into this seamlessness. It's really
Yeah.
something fantastic.
I like
And when-
Rogan too, but he's gotten a little more Rogan. He's
Yeah.
gotten philosophical, towards the end.
He's
And-
got heavy issues.
yeah.
There's a parade of fucking pussy around here. I don't know if you know.
I've been she's delicious. She was coming
lot
up
of
and
that.
groping me earlier. Maybe she likes old
when
men.
you grew up, the thing I had problem. One of the things that have been an issue for me up till this point is like dating girls in the city are some of the worst individuals that I've ever met.
Anywhere else you go in the world, it seems easier because the women here are the most
Anywhere else
jaded,
in this
the
country,
worst. Yes,
I think.
and they've just heard. But then, to be fair to them,
They're selling pussy.
dudes are fucking
Oh,
creepy
sure,
as
they're-
shit. You know what I mean? It just, of course they're going to be
I'm blaming
hateful
it- I'm blaming it
shrews.
because it's they've been so a product of their environment. Some nice girls have moved here and they've
Yeah.
changed.
Oh,
I've
yeah.
seen it. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? They adopt these personality traits.
Oh, I love watching them when
uh,
they come and they're
yeah.
fresh
Oh,
and
yeah.
innocent and they're nice and sweet. And I'm like, sweetheart, in about 2 years, you're just
Yeah.
going to be a horrific, shrewish cunt. And sure enough, they're like, I hate you for being right.
Well, give me the breakdown. Okay, so after the let's go 3-month increments. What happened? Girl comes off the Greyhound. She's from Kansas City, pretty, very indifferent, kind of nice girl next door.
Well, by the
What's
third
first
month,
thing?
it's just like they got punched in the nose and they can't believe it happened. They look incredulous, but they have tears forming, but they haven't yet
Yeah,
gotten
registered.
the full cry out yet. You know what I mean?
So that's
By
3
6 months, they've already been in the cry, and now their eyes hurt, and they have a headache. Their face is swollen, and they hate themselves. But more than that, they hate everybody because they hate themselves.
Okay.
By 9 months, there's a malaise,
A miscarriage.
Yeah, there's a kind of a Thorazine kind of a
Twitch?
ding. Yeah, where they're. And then by a year, they're starting to get their shit back together. But now they're transformed. It's sort of like boot camp where you tear them down to nothing and rebuild them into something else. Because now that original girl, she was just a little total recall
How does she
conjoined
look
twin.
now? How
That's
does she look now? From that Kansas City girl, pigtails.
she might, in a picture, she might look the same, but in reality, you will
Are you describing
smell
your
the
ex-girlfriend?
freshness has disappeared.
Okay, what does
They-
it smell like now? Old Spice?
Hard hate.
Okay.
Just
She's perspiring
bitter.
this?
Yeah, she's perspiring bitter vanilla to cover over the skank. Now, by the next year, they're starting to sharpen tools. And by the time 2 years comes around, there's a
a
manipulative tiger that is
Okay.
fucking preying. She has teeth in her pussy.
What's her
and-
hustle, though? What does she want at this point? Because she's obviously been in the business for a bit now and seen the highs and lows of it. How has her game changed from, I'm going to be a movie star? What does she want now?
Now she wants to.
Marry a rich guy or...
She might
She's-
want
is
to
she
be a
gonna
movie
cash
star,
out?
but she's going to do it in a different way.
Get old,
She's gonna tease a lot. There's going to be a little bit of outlay, but not much, because then they start to learn the tricks of male manipulation. And men are fucking stupid. You just
Oh, sure.
you
This
flash
goes
a
both
pussy or
ways,
a
what we're
tit at 'em,
talking
and we
about.
go, "Ooh."
Yeah.
It'd give you anything. You know what I mean?
There is a lot of dummies.
If I had something and a 20-year-old wanted to flash me something, I would give her things.
You sorry I couldn't hear that.
I would give a 20-year-old things just for flash, even though I know better.
Yeah.
I would still do it just because it's so
She needed
rare
the
that
money?
it happens. No, usually it's for power or play. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like actresses.
There's some fucking crazy bitches in this city.
Now, by 6 years, that's where I know them best because I've seen them all in
So they're
12-step
late 20s
program.
now. They're in a 12-step, late 26,
Yeah.
27.
Yeah, and they're
What are they doing? Hard liquor, blow.
hard liquor blow. Usually some
That's
kind of
kinda Hollywood
intravenous drug too, and they've sold themselves to.
She's had multiple anal partners.
Yeah, there's
Her
been a
asshole's
requiem
blown
for
out.
a dream, darkness, butthole blowage going.
Yeah, because that would be a girl who's never even had her asshole touched before. Now she's letting directors just drop hate crimes in her
Triple
shithole.
penetration.
Triple?
Yeah.
And what is she getting out of that casting call or
Some
commercial?
papa stitches.
Some extra work in a commercial
Yeah, a porn star.
for triple? Oh, and then she goes to fuck movies. And there's no shortage of honking fucking idiots. See, the problem is none of these guys have been knocked out in their cars.
It's true.
If that was my hometown, one of those guys would have got out with a tire iron under his seat and listen, I'm gonna beat your kids in front of you in the back seat if you don't fucking move up. They go worse.
I'm going to beat you in front of your kids.
Yeah, no. They'd hit the kids in front of the guy. They're that lethal.
Yeah.
Well, what was your neighborhood? Because you've had not people don't know what you look like, but you've had a checkered past.
Well, I mean,
You got tattoos on your head.
Yeah, I mean, I shave my head not because I'm racist or anything, because it's hot up in San Fernando Valley, and when I work, my head sweats.
Yeah,
But then
you got tattoo. What are your tattoos of?
demon holding an eyeball on one side. I got gears and wheels
Yeah,
on the
yeah.
other. I got the
sign on the
space for
back
rent
that says space for
billboard
rent.
with a screw loose. See, that's a program.
But nothing.
thing.
You have nothing on your arms.
I got a bull skull on my chest.
Yeah.
I
It's
got
a weird. Usually
the
people
yin
do
and
arms,
yang and-
but that's a forward one. Is the head? I always want to get my neck done.
But I can wear a hat.
What's that?
I can wear a hat.
Yeah, of course. My tattoos are all coverable too, but I love the stigma that's attached to them because I love to do something around my neck.
A big
on my
scar.
throat. Scar.
Yeah, just a
Straight
big
razor. I've seen that where some guys have made it look like it's canvas and it's stitched up, and when
Yeah.
they tip their head back, it looks like their head's gonna snap off. Some tattoos, a lot of biomechanical stuff.
I mean, you know what? The bottom line is, even if I was completely bare, it's not going to change the way people view me.
No.
I have some kind of
And that's their
homicidal
problem.
demeanor, that pheromone that waves
Well, you
off.
walk around with a claw hammer in your hand 24/7. People are sending out a message. Is he here to fix my roof or beat me in front of my kids?
And he doesn't have any other roofing materials.
I had an auto body teacher in my school, Mr. Poot. He's a Dutch guy.
Mr. What?
Mr. Poot, Poot, and when we were
course
fucking
he's
around,
bad.
when we were fucking around in auto shop,
Yeah.
he'd whip a pigskin mallet at you. And that was the rumor that went around school.
Yeah.
And then sure enough, man, you'd be fucking around on the bandsaw or fucking up a tool or something like that, and he would whip it at you like it was his last day at work.
Yeah.
I always put you in check.
Yeah, nowadays you go to jail for that. When I was a kid, all kids got beat by parents, by adults. They didn't have to be your parents. Just any old strange
Cuffed in
dope
the
could
face.
beat you, and it was fine
Well, where are your
because
grandparents from?
my
American or-
my one side is Scottish, one side is Mexican. So, yeah,
It's an album.
that is a wonderful combination because the Scottish people are like these
Your parents-
mean-spirited, just silent, stoic haters.
Oh, I've been.
And
The
the-
best comedy audience, the Scots, man. Are
Really?
Oh, man. The Edinburgh and the Glasgow Stand.
Yeah.
I've played them many times. Plus, the Edinburgh Fringe Festival is there in August, and it's, if not the best comedy festival in the world. But
I
can
just
see
have
it.
a bitter
But no,
fucking
they
family,
have
though.
they'll fucking smash your face in with their head.
Well, there's something wrong with a culture that, like, why are you wearing skirts? Everyone else in Europe at that time was wearing pants. It's cold as fuck over here. Don't you want to?
They don't give a fuck.
Where do you get these weight
It's-
measurements of throw? You do
It's
these Olympic
stubbornness.
sports of telephone poles and stone
Yeah.
balls. What?
They're like, you think it's funny that I'm wearing a skirt? Come here, I'll fucking fight you. We'll see who the tough guy is.
Plus,
They'll
look,
fuck you up.
they lived for 1,000 years on the edge of windblown sea cliffs.
Oh, man.
So the only thing they could figure out to eat was, let's take some dirt and grass, and we're going to make a broth out of that. And since we have a pig and a lamb, we're going to kill them both, and we're going to take the fat out of a pig and shove it in a lamb's ass, make a little sausage, throw it in the soup, and it's the national dish of haggis. That's the worst. That is the worst stuff in the world.
No, it's not. It is not the worst. I've been to some places and I don't do
Haggis?
I won't eat eyeballs or I don't do.
Okay.
I had a vegetarian haggis, but it was like kind of why.
How
What's
can
the
you have a
point?
vegetarian haggis? It's supposed to be fat
I had
stuffed
it
in a
Scotland.
colon.
Yeah, I had it in Scotland. Oddly enough, in a pub off of the Royal Mile in Edinburgh. I'm just having a flashback. There's a pub on the corner there by my friend's tattoo shop.
Before they had Ancestry.com, my grandmother had gone through and she had done one of these like ancestral searches way back,
Yeah.
Years ago, and then went over to Scotland and stuff. And it turns out that she traced us all the way back to this dude called the Earl of Ross, right? This guy is like a legendary historical dude. Basically, he was a big, drunken, red-haired psycho murderer that cleaved his bloody way across half of Scotland, right?
Okay.
And he's held in high regard. I punched somebody 1,000 years later, and I'm a big fucking asshole. What?
That is, you were talking about doing comedy where it's in front of real people.
Yeah.
You go to Scotland, you get real deal audiences in a real comedy club. No, I would reach out to them and because you have a great time. It's it's fucking castles and pubs. You're in a painting. It's beautiful. You come out of the train station in Edinburgh and you look up the hill and there's a castle there. And it is like, does anyone else? That's a fucking castle. It's just so a matter of fact for the locals. They're like, yeah. I got to go to the shops. Get out of my way. You know what I mean? But
And
it's
then the
beautiful. And the drinking. You have a really good time. It's a very social thing. People are not at home in front of their fucking televisions. They go to the pubs. They're interactive. They're people amongst people.
It's so unfashionable here to be this out of control drunk with cigarettes and poop in your pants nowadays. I mean, it's just fucking
It's frowned
sick.
upon.
Yeah. If I want to have fun in whatever way, I can debase myself if I want. Don't judge me.
Yeah. Well, everyone's worried about what other people think of them.
That's exactly. There's, I a long time ago gave up on that part.
I know we might be sounding, people who are listening, this is kind of bitter, but you got to come here and experience this. I'm a well-traveled, relatively well-rounded individual, and I've never seen anything like this thing.
I've been from here most of my life, and
And you're still confused.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because there's a shallowness that I just don't get. I mean, and it's a shifting trend of morality all the time. And you never know. So the only way I can deal with it is I just be me. I don't fuck people over and I don't rip people off. I'm also not trying to kiss people's asses. And if they don't like what I have to say, I've tried to do some clean comedy in the past.
And
It doesn't work.
Some people will make that as he's difficult because he's got standards and boundaries. People want all they want
that's
is jelly.
abnormal
They want-
nowadays.
Yeah. They want like spineless jellyfish.
Yeah.
So they put them
Or
in whatever.
more mob mentality, whatever way the wind blows. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's very much true.
I'm
Bob
sorry. I
mentality.
don't care if the whole world believes something. If I believe the other thing, I will believe the opposite of the whole world and be convinced that I'm right.
Oh, speaking of cunts, Bobby, it's been verified now. Unfortunately, the promoter in Winnipeg, Manitoba, has walked with not only my money, but the Kurt Angle wrestler did a show there and got stiffed for a large sum of money. You can Google that Kurt Angle Winnipeg ripoff. Jamie Sparks has fucked over a bunch of entertainers, and it's a shame. But I will not be coming to Winnipeg.
Kurt
on,
Angle's a
June.
bad boy, too. He's got
Yeah, I
no
know, he's
neck. That
stiff
guy could
wrestlers.
rip your freaking face off.
I know.
With his hands.
What the balls?
Yeah.
The balls, you know.
I just want to pick the
fucking scum.
biggest, most lethal, dangerous looking dude and just slap him in the face, take his money, and pinch him in the ass and run.
Yeah.
See if he can catch me.
I know. I'm from Hamilton, and there's definitely another code. But I got a contract, so I don't know. Maybe I'll look into a lawyer. You know, I'm in the contract states. I'm supposed to receive, regardless, after the 30 days previous to my prom. Anyway, yeah.
Well, if the lawyer doesn't pan out, I know some other people that might be able to get your money back.
Get some old fishermen to come down.
Yeah.
But I am definitely looking forward to going on the road. The downtime, man. I don't know. I keep talking about this, but there's nothing to do of substance, you know.
Here?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I know.
I'm gonna go to Vegas. I'm doing a show in Vegas at in a casino on the 6th.
Which one?
Yeah, I know. I can't remember. It'll be on my website. And then I'm going to Amazing Jonathan's wedding on the
Nice.
7th. Yeah, which I'm pretty stoked.
You got any metal concerts coming up?
No, nothing. I'm gonna try and do some Europe rock festivals.
Yeah, right?
In the summer. But now that I live in the U.S., I have to get myself to Europe, and then they usually cover the travel and stuff.
Right.
And they don't pay that much. It's more of
An experience
a cool thing.
thing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
fucking great. Hang out with bands,
Best
and do-
bands in the world,
Yeah,
right.
great bands. But you went to a lot of shows, music.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, since I was a kid. You know what? This is one thing. I'm going to be 55 in July. I feel like I landed in one of the best generations ever, because in the 60s, 70s, 80s, there was so many great musicians.
What the fuck was that?
That was some hysteria.
That was two girls
that was unfounded.
greeting each other. I thought
was-
it was two turkeys fighting. What the fuck was that?
Or mating.
I was like, is there a pit bull loose over there killing a cat or something?
But
No.
I feel like I lived during a musical renaissance that will not be seen again. You know what I mean? And we're at
Yeah.
the tail end of it now. There was like the bands that I've seen in my life, and I like the latest music still. But I mean, still, you go back to Sabbath and
Yeah,
shit.
it's blueprints.
You know, the bands
Pioneers.
that I've seen are all legends now, and now that I think at the time
All
it
legends.
seemed normal. You know,
Yeah, it was common.
Take it
to
for
do
granted.
some cool shit
Yeah.
that's gonna last for a long time.
and so if one thing I've been to literally probably 1,000 concerts.
That's awesome. I
And-
love seeing live music. It's one of my favorite things to do.
Right?
You know, in of various forms, styles, things. I'm just
Yeah.
curious about live performance. And when you see a great show, you're like, that was money well spent. Those guys killed it on stage. You
Yeah.
know, you could really see it. And that's
Yeah.
what I love watching live entertainment in
You
general.
want to know one of the best concerts I ever saw? Johnny Cash with his
man.
whole family out at the Victorville Fairgrounds during the Pleiades meteor shower. It was freaking awesome.
What year was that?
It's like 92 or something, you know.
That's
and
crazy.
then and he had,
I regret I missed it.
and
I missed
he
it.
was badass, you know. He's the man in black.
He's badass for so many reasons. His songs are killer, legendary, and his life, what he's been through, and he walks. We're talking about people
Yeah.
who walk
Another
talk the walk,
tortured.
yeah,
just-
and who rose,
Yeah.
you know, and became iconic.
Yeah.
That's the best, I think, you know. And there's none of those all these backstories on entertainers now are just like yawn. They've built a sitcom around their boring past life. It's like there's no meat on that.
Two broke girls.
I like what's that?
Two broke girls.
I don't even know what that is.
That's
Is it a
the
television show?
most horrible television show that's been renewed forever.
I haven't
because
watched.
this is the fucking appetite of America now. I want pablum. Please take out any flavoring, or I
Yeah,
just
yeah.
want soy substance.
Pasteurized.
Yes.
Made it. Everything's. What is it they say? It's like a Nerf world.
Yeah, just
Nerf
shove
world.
tofu blocks
Watch
into
All
me.
in the Family.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That
Yeah.
that was progressive. There were the subjects, everything, and then now what is it you call it? Two Broke Girls,
Yeah.
and then All in the Family. I don't know. Maybe I sort of think maybe I'm just getting old, but no, I don't think it's
No.
what is it? A standard is of excellence is not old
There's-
fashioned.
There's Prozac fumes flowing around the
Prozac
air.
fumes?
Yes. And most of society is succumbing to them. And every once in a while, you look across the vast multitude of sleeping sheeple, and you go, "Oh, there's someone awake over there! Hey!"
Yeah.
'Cause
It's like being adrift.
yes,
In what was it? A vapor. What was the pill you said?
Prozac?
Prozac.
Yeah.
Prozac fog.
exactly.
Like a fog, like a hazy. The pollution
Maybe
in the
Zoloft.
air in
A Zoloft
California.
fog. That
is
sounds like
a
fog.
Zoloft. Like California pollution. That's not diesel. It's Zoloft.
Yeah, we have our Zoloft factor for the day is 3.5 in the valley.
How many tons of Zoloft do you think is cranked out every year?
I don't know. I mean,
Like a grain silo. A bunch of those.
grain silo. Are you kidding me? Like the fucking Exxon Valdez ship.
Oh, really? You think that's? I wonder what the stats are.
Here's what I like: Cymbalta.
What's Cymbalta?
Cymbalta is an antidepressant, and they used to have this commercial there where it had the little hole, and the hole had a face, and the hole represented your depression. And then when you're feeling sad and you're lonely, Cymbalta will take care of it, and then the hole gets happy, and so then you don't hear nothing about Cymbalta, the antidepressant, for a while. And then 6 months later, it's Cymbalta, the joint pain relief.
Don't kiss me on the mouth. Don't ask if you're hurting me. And if you hear the safe word, stop what you're doing immediately. Do you have pantyhose?